Good morning, everybody. Everybody is asking me how to control hunger. The hunger that we are seeing now in India or in other countries is hedonic hunger. What is hedonic hunger is when you derive pleasure by eating food, when there is no necessity of any intake of food. Then it's called as hedonic hunger. Homeostatic hunger is when there is a calorie deficit and when you really physically require the amount of food, then it is called a homeostatic hunger. Majority of the people that we are going through is a hedonic hunger. We derive pleasure by eating. Once you like any food, either by watching it, seeing it, or by seeing the texture, or by enjoying the taste, or by look of it, or overall theme of it, if you like, then this liking is first marked at the mesolimbic brain. The thalamus, hypothalamus, and midbrain, they're all integrated, and with or both by smell and taste, texture, will give you an impression about that particular food which you are liking. Once you like that food, the again and again by repeatedly taking these modern, Western as well as highly ultra refined foods which we are developing in every country and every region, they are developing on their own, which are high density carbohydrates, will create a repeated stimuli to the brain. So from liking, you will develop what is called a want. The want is the area which controls or inhibition control is by the prefrontal cortex that they will come down, and we will be having more and more hypersensitivity developed with increased blood circulation and increased glucose and oxygen to certain particular parts of the brain, which is called orbitofrontal, and there is a conflict area ACC, which will be pumped again and again by hypersensitive individuals. And these people they're exposed to such a high density foods, carbohydrates, either beer or biryani or sweets, or it can be any same thing with liquid, drugs or religion or sex or social media. Same idea concept is same of addiction. So liking is different, wanting is different, addiction is different. Once you the cerebral cortex gets interested again and again by repeated exposure to same food, it is called as incentive. Incentive means a reward. Incentive is salient. Incentive salient theory. Here the person is exposed to a certain foods which he likes them, and once they decided, the brain areas which are sensitive, hypersensitive areas, they get exposed towards it, and already you will take a reward out of it. So the reward is either after tasting the food or already mentally you are decided to go there and take your food. That is also called as already because of repeated exposure. You are taking the reward already because of the repeated exposure. This is called as incentive. So it's a reward. So motivational salience and incentive salience are motivational salience can be two types. Either if you like it, you move towards it, then you take that food, or it can be an object, it can be pornography, it can be sex, it can be religion, it can be social media, it can be any event. You like it and you move towards it. Whereas motivational salience is it can be incentive as well as aversive. That is you won't want to tell. Your boss is there or your leader is there who is doing some mistake, but you won't tell him by maintaining aversion, by keeping yourself, controlling yourself, and you're avoiding this particular aversion, you are again getting a reward. There also you are getting a reward. So rewards can you can get it by two ways. Third is once you're getting a reward again and again, you like that cake, you like that beer, or you like that biryani, or you like that particular food. The next time again you want to go for that reward. So this is called reward surfeit theory. Again and again you repeatedly want to go there, particular to that place, and again have a food. All these are fundamental basis for obesity. So modernized obesity is hunger is because of hedonic hunger. We have gone through that 1947 of poverty-driven real hunger foods. The real hunger phase is gone for all the countries. We are now in hedonic hunger. Hedonic hunger means you are deriving pleasure by eating certain particular type of food. Next is reward deficit. You so two times you had alcohol, third time you go there, same like a drug. If you take the amount of reward that you feel, you will not get that high. You will not get that enjoyment. The enjoyment or happiness hormone is dopamine regulated. The dopamine is released, you feel very happy that you got a reward, that you got a gift. That kind of impulse happiness will come down by the time you repeat again and again, taking the same food. Because of that, what you have to take more amount of food. This causes obesity. So fourth type is wherein you stop getting pleasure out of it. This is called an. So an means in a Greek word no or negative. Hedonic means the type of pleasure that you derive. So you will stop deriving pleasure out of the whole thing. So it's mostly seen in the drugs addicts. You'll be seeing in social media addicts. You'll be seeing in porn addicts. All these people, even they know they are not deriving any pleasure out of it, still they will continue because they are unable to control their own selves. This is called as anhedonic. Then is pervasive. That is, somebody puts a funny picture on the social media, or somebody gives a new type of food which he has never eaten. Similarly, they'll develop a very perverse reaction. Is even though it is not harmful, they take it as it is going to harm them, and they become a psychosis. This is a fundamental for schizophrenia or bipolar disorders. There we will be seeing millions and millions of photos and images and videos that go through your social media. Suddenly, you'll react very negatively to it because the person who has kept it on the uh, screen may not know whether how you react. So you'll react in a very pervasive way. So there are five types of where you react to your food. Once is reward. Once you are happy, rewards are fit means you'll be eating more and more. You'll become obese. Second is reward deficit. That is, when you're taken one piece of cake, you felt happy. Now you have to take more amount of cake to reduce to get the same happiness. Third is evolution. That is, you don't feel like enjoying that product, but still you'll go and eat that cake, and again you become obese. Next is pervasive. That if you become perverted, and you instead of reacting positively, you react in a different way. You were when a girl who's eating cakes and Western food or biryanis and all, if they are asked to eat a green leafy vegetable or carrot or some vegetables, they develop extreme aversion. So in that way, everything in life, once you start liking something, same way there will be aversion to some other thing, unknowingly. So this is how called as our hedonic food. So hedonic hunger is the root base for obesity, which causes diabetes. Because the majority of the people that we see in India are having high hunger levels because of the high insulin levels, they go into obesity. The triglycerides will go up, fatty liver will come, and later on they develop coronary artery disease, and they because the pancreas is unable to pump the amount of insulin that is required, they become diabetes. So 30 years ahead, you can make out who will develop obesity and diabetes by doing a fasting insulin test called as HOMA. So the basic input is in the hypothalamus. The lateral part will give you a negative inhibitor serotonin, whereas human produces dopamine, and it causes motivation. So motivation salience is when you become take a step and take a towards an object or withdraw yourself and get a reward. Similarly, we have more not only at brainstem, but we also have at a cerebral cortex. We have a cognitive control or what to eat and what not to eat. That cognitive control will be lost in the later stage of once you get addicted to food, and will be doing the repeating eating the same food again, and will become obese. Even everybody knows that they can want to change the diet, they cannot change the diet because there are hyper sensitive areas in the brain which are developed. So much effect will be there even after 2 3 years. First initial 90 days, 80 days, lot of weight reduction will happen. HbA1c will come down. People appear to be becoming healthy, and again because of the hypersensitive areas in the brain, again they go back after 1 year, and they go back to old diet, and they become obese again. This is because of the hypersensitive area, because of the we are getting a reward incentive salient theory. Because of that, even after 1.5 to 2 years of not exposure to that high density or high carbohydrate diet, still again you can go back. Instead of you'll stop eating vegetables, you'll stop eating raw meal. Again, you'll go back to the high density diets, and you will develop obesity again. Once you develop obesity again, you develop diabetes. So lifelong, we have to remember that the diet that we are taking is a very high carbohydrate diet that produces hypersensitive areas in the brain. These hypersensitive areas will produce our hedonic hunger, and we lose the ability to control ourselves, and we'll be doing the same mistake again and again, and we become obese. The main regulator is the hypothalamus. So hypothalamus at this stage, it gives a neurohormonal transmission, and you get all the drive to eat more. This is because of the ghrelin hormone that is get released whenever you start eating. This ghrelin hormone nowadays they are trying to give a antidote for it, which acts at the brain and reduces the further eating. Thereby, you can reduce your weight. Our nature has given us a beautiful phenomena. Whenever we eating more, our food goes into the adipocyte fat cell. It releases leptin. This leptin goes to the brain and gives a signal to stop eating. But the problem is we develop leptin resistance. Before insulin resistance, leptin resistance will happen, and it tries to inhibit us. We lose that inhibition. That is why we gain weight. We have on one side very high granule sensitivity, on the other side we develop leptin resistance, and most important is in majority of patients after old age they start losing their memory because of the dopamine levels in the brain comes down. So this is called as Alzheimer disease. So with the diabetes, once they give insulin to these people through nasal intranasal, they improved very well. So they say the dopamine has to be regulated at the brain by using a insulin therapy in the brain and by improving the memory power. So there is a leptin which controls our brain, insulin which controls our brain, and ghrelin which controls our brain. So without all this, if you don't know, you just straight away go to a high carbohydrate, or you take alcohol or drugs, or you take a heavy diets continuously, repeatedly, and you get exposed to in the TV, social media, or outside, repeatedly start thinking about it, mostly in women. They they start in liking, and from there wanting, and from there to addiction, and then they become extremely obese and become diabetic. Hedonic hunger, this is the hunger you have to remember. The hunger is not homeostatic hunger, it is a hedonic hunger. Everybody after 7 p.m. to morning 7 a.m., if you stop eating, you first of all the human body will understand whether it is a physical real hunger, and or is it only a hedonic hunger. In that way, you can recycle yourself, re invent yourself, rewire your brain, and stop thinking that diabetes is irreversible and obesity is irreversible. If you can understand the hedonic hunger, and will understand the entire life. So we have a extreme drug addiction, social media addiction, pornographic addiction, ideology addiction, religion addiction. All these are because of the incentive. We are all getting a profit. Because we are getting a profit, rewards, we again go for it. Incentive, salience, theory. Basis, we are having a dopamine, which a feel good hormone, which gets released at that particular stage. That's why we again and again we go on continuously eating. So once you understand that, you will not be afraid of hunger. So hedonic hunger, I want to explain to you the most important role of insulin, leptin, ghrelin, hormones, and there are number of neurotransmitters which control, along with the hypothalamus, our appetite, energy, sleep pattern. All this will be maintained at the brain. And brain, although it is a produce only weight of 2% to the entire body, it consumes 25% of our energy. At every neurotransmission that continues, it requires a almost like a thermal power project of energy. That's why we feel so tired easily. Our human brain consumes the highest amount of glucose. Instead of glucose, if you go on giving ketones to it by doing a keto fast, the ketones also in long term can cause a early degeneration of the brain. That's why in diabetics, you'll be seeing elderly people losing their memory early. So these are called as type C of diabetes, wherein if you use an insulin by nasal, they're improving well. If they can come out of the high carbohydrate diet, your people are improving very well. Whenever we take high carbohydrate diets, our chances of getting convulsions and fits are very high because there is a complete change in the blood glucose levels very quickly, which produces triggers or hunger and which produces convulsion. So glucoxit is between the normal brand of 70 to 99 or blood sugar, even if a small swing this or that produces hunger. And these people again and again they will be eating again and again because their blood sugar will be coming down. That is one of the reason why you always feel hungry and you always feel like eating again and again if you are taking a high carbohydrate diet. So high protein diet triggers glucagon, which triggers ghrelin, which causes obesity. So entire thing is we are having a hedonic hunger. So 7 p.m. should be the last dinner. By this you can reduce the hedonic hunger and you come to a real natural hunger that you are having. You can make out. Thank you.